Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Building Pickleball. This is another episode in the Founder Series. Here today with Breygan Holbrook, Kasen Holbrook. These two are the co-founders of Holbrook Pickleball, and we're in Logan, Utah right now. Thanks for having me out here. Thanks for going on to the podcast. Thank you for the tour. Each trip is a little different.
Sure.
This one's been very family-oriented, which is really cool. You get that vibe, like, you guys are already co-founders, like brothers as co-founders, having your dad there too in the beginning. And then just like all the events so far, as far as like going out to dinner, office culture, like I forgot his name's
Connor.
Yeah. Connor is he married to your sister?
Yeah. So our brother-in-law.
Super cool. Yeah. Thanks. Just thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming out here. It's
yeah,
been fun.
serious. Thanks for taking your time to just see what we're all about. And so we're excited to at least bring that to light to the rest of the pickleball community.
Yeah. It's awesome. We had talked on the phone September of 2024 when the Arrow was coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I have it written in my notes that you're like the dual density core. I don't think it had a name at the time, but you said dual density core is coming out March 2025. It's like May, but I'm like, that's pretty close. Yeah. As far as product goes.
Yeah. I forgot we were kind of hyping that up even when we were talking about Arrow. We've been working on it for a while. So yeah, that's cool. Fun to have in your notes.
Can you tell everyone a little bit about why I'm here, why we're here, why we're getting together?
Yeah, absolutely. We're launching the ARMA, and this ARMA paddle we've been working on for just over a year and a half now. And so that's a big reason is we want to tell the world about kind of the new technology that we've been working on and how it's going to really help the pickleball player take their game to the next level. That's a big reason. And then I think, the other reason is just to share our story. What is Holbrook about? What do we value? What do we stand for? What drives us, kind of to do what we do every day. And so I think that's definitely why we brought you out here and excited for that.
How did the business start out? I know it started in 2022. Obviously, the two of you guys founded it together. Like, what was going on in your lives at that time? What prompted you to start the business? And like, why did you guys choose to do it together? And also like getting your father involved?
In the early stages, first of all, we both love business. I just love business, and I love sports. So we grew up playing sports, and I love that competitive side of just going out, doing something that's challenging, and then succeeding in it. So yeah, just early on, I just studied business, and our father started a business, and we kind of saw his journey growing up. And there was definitely times where he was traveling and he was gone. But they had just like such a cool culture, and they saw a ton of success. And so growing up, that was just like an example for us that we wanted to be number one. Our dad was one of our heroes. We just wanted to be like him and want to surround ourselves with successful people. And so I think from a very early age, that's where, we had like a lawn care business when we were in middle school and high school. And so business was very apparent early on. I started a business when I was in college, just trying to learn as much as I possibly could and to develop those skills. So fast forward to what kind of introduced pickleball is in early 2020-ish, we kind of heard about pickleball, and I just started playing it with my friends. And of course, that's the kind of that story that everyone shares is they start to fall in love with the sport, and they realize how fun it is and how you can be as competitive or recreational as you want, but it's just so fun. So I just started playing, and my initial thought was just, especially when I started looking for paddles, I just realized every paddle kind of looks a little ugly. That was my first thought. And so I was like, that's a little interesting. Like, how could we build like the Nike or the even the Lulu? Those are a little different vibes, but that and pickleball, just have a really cool brand. And so, that's kind of where our mind first went. And so I just kind of started pitching the idea to a few people, and one of those was Kasen. Kasen and I were living close together we were actually I was just finishing up college when I was running this idea past him. He was in his early stages of college, so we're a little young, but that's kind of where it started, and then Kasen kind of jumped on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Breygan said, Breygan was kind of finishing up college. I was jumping into college at this point, and we would just talk about it. Breygan would, tell me about things on his mind. He had this idea for pickleball, to start this pickleball brand. And at that point, I was not exactly sure even what I wanted to study in college or what path I was going to go down. But he kind of, shared this idea that he had, and I was just like, sweet, I'll jump in and help you if you want. So we started designing pickleball paddles on my iPad, and we would just sketch, go to work. We'd talk to people on campus and get their input about stuff we'd been working on and designs. We'd go out to different stores or go in public and get feedback, go to courts, and just get as much feedback as possible from people in the industry and from our target customers, and just took all their feedback and tried to use that to start our brand. So
yeah, it was pretty cool, honestly. I was just like throwing around ideas, and Kasen's like, no, I'm jumping in, like, we got to do this. So I think to Kasen's credit, as we kind of kept toying around with the idea, Kasen was also very pushing the idea, like, no, let's do it. Like, and Kasen and I just have different strengths, which is so good for business. Kasen is definitely more detail oriented, really good with product, really kind of understands that, and also great with like operationally, where myself, I'm a little bit more kind of the sales and marketing side, a little bit more forward facing. And so we complement each other really well. And so it, match made in heaven, maybe, as far as brothers go and business partners go.
Yeah, it's definitely worked out. It's been a fun ride. And I mean, we're still a small growing company, but even now it's fun to look back to see where we were when we were just had this idea and trying to get it off the ground to where we are now. And we feel like we have a good, solid foundation and a healthy running company that we're really happy to be part of.
Absolutely.
How old were you guys when you started it?
Yeah, so I was 23-ish.
No, well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because we started, and I was...
Depends on when you say start.
Yeah, when we started toying around with the idea, I was 20, and then by launch date, I was 21, and you're 23 or 24, so...
Yeah. So...
How old was your dad when he started his...
Brody...
He was late 20s, I believe.
Yeah, he was late 20s.
Like 27, 28.
Yep.
He joined with his partner and started going.
That's interesting. Is that kind of common, the young age of like starting a business in this town? Because I've my one buddy who I've been telling you about.
Yeah.
He was a Mormon. He when I posted the photos of like my story posts of being here, he's like, dude, that's where I used to go. Like he would go to Aggie's. That was his date spot with his wife. Then he said he knows the owner of like Lucy's Pizza.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys mentioned you guys know like the owners of the business, some like businesses of places that we ate at.
Yeah.
It seems like pretty entrepreneurial here.
There's a lot of new people here, and there's a lot of you watching that don't know this, but I can get you a 20% discount at Viore if you go to viore.com/buildingpickleball. You get 20% off your first purchase, and you get free shipping on any orders of $75 or more, and you get free returns. Right now, I'm wearing the Ponto Performance Tee. It's pretty similar to the Strato Tech Tee, although this is definitely much thicker, and it's a different kind of soft. This is something that I probably wouldn't wear working out. You definitely could, but I would rather wear this while I'm going out to dinner, meeting up with friends, or lounging at home. It's great for traveling because it's lightweight and super soft, especially when you're in the airport, when you're hanging out at the airport, when you're flying.
Yeah, I'd say Utah in general is entrepreneurial. A lot of opportunity, and that's really attractive to a lot of people. I think that's why Utah's grown so much. Yeah, and I think just for us is, I think having that example of our father at an early stage, that's what kind of just introduced that idea and realized that we could go and have a fun journey, learn a lot, provide a lot of value, experience a lot, have a great team, and be successful in doing that. And so I think it was helpful to have a father that way. But I think Utah's just like that.
Yeah, I think too, starting a business at such a young age, there's obviously advantages and disadvantages to that, right? But I think there's a lot of positive aspects. Like when we started, like we said, we were 23 years old. We had nothing to lose. Like we didn't have a bunch of finances that to lose from this. I mean, it's always risky, and jumping into something is risky like this to start your career. But we figured, like Breygan said, might as well jump in. If nothing else, we're going to learn a ton, and it's going to help us in the long run. So
I'd also just quickly add to that. I think to the credit of our team and ourselves is we are just very hungry because we want to learn. But not only that is I think we always want to provide value. And so we're always trying to find ways to do that, and which requires a lot of learning. The other thing I'd say is we have surrounded ourselves by just people that have done it. So we have a board that includes some of the original founders and shareholders of my father's previous business, and we meet with them weekly. And they have built very sound, healthy businesses. And then a few others that mentor us in a lot of different ways. So we really thrive and enjoy mentorship because that only helps us. That's only going to make us better. So whatever it takes to just make us better, we want to just soak it all in and surround ourselves by that.
How has the business changed from 2022 when you guys first started? It's like where you are now. Like obviously the physical side, you guys have this like office here, which it started off with basically like a closet, the first office you guys had. And then now you guys have more team members. Yeah, you have more team members, which is great. Yeah.
Absolutely. We basically just had like a room and kind of like the size of a bedroom. Maybe it actually extended a little bit more, and then we got 2 bedrooms. But just started, and of course, you're wearing every single hat, from getting on the phone and just calling retailers to building our website, product, and coming out with product, shipping. All of a sudden, our office turned into a warehouse, right? And of course, and we're still doing this, but just you work those long hours of getting in early, leaving late, but just because you're just trying to get everything done, right? So I'd say some of that. I think even just at the beginning stages, early on, we launched like some lifestyle paddles that were kind of more design, aesthetically pleasing. And as we just got more involved in the community and we realized, okay, we kind of have a different vision for the brand, that of course, we love, the aesthetics. We like a clean look. But we're way more focused now on the innovation, the kind of like pushing the limits in a lot of ways with our product, and kind of having that product that's a little bit more of the higher end that's going to improve someone's game. And so it quickly transitioned into, okay, we need help on the product development side. We need engineers, and just started surrounding ourselves in that way. And obviously you could talk more about that too, but anything else that I missed?
No, that's great. Yeah, we started out, like Breygan said, in that small building. Now we're here, a little bit bigger office space, and got our warehouse in the back, and now we have a team of about 15 people. So we're still growing fast, and we've loved being part of this industry. And like Breygan said, from the beginning we've tried to involve the customers and the players, and they've helped us, paint the picture of where we should go as a business. And like Breygan said, for our brand, we quickly realized we needed to kind of shift focus and focus on innovation and technology, and provide that kind of value to avid pickleball players. So
yeah, that's sweet. Well, it's a good segue to get into the paddle. I mean, a lot of people are curious about it. The ARMA, I'm trying to think of who first posted about it, but I saw the graphic and then it showed the core. And then when I was at the Selkirk event, like was talking with Isaac, and he was talking about the paddle as well because he had tested it out. And then I think Chris had put some posts out. So yeah, like would love to hear more about. I think there's, as far as the performance side, it looked like there's 3 iterations. There's the Pro Series, the Aero, and then now we're on the ARMA. So there's like 3 different stages or like models that have come out. Yeah, would love to hear about the inception of ARMA. Yeah, how it just came about. The approach to the technology that's in the paddle is something that's not being done right now.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm just curious, like how you even come to that idea.
I'll give a quick background, and then Coleman can jump in. So
just really quickly, so Kasen is our CPO, so our Chief Product Officer. So Kasen does product is his focus. You will obviously introduce Coleman as more of our kind of like our hands-on product developer. But just kind of giving perspective, that's Kasen's whole angle. Where he spends his time. So
we, like I said, we knew we needed to continue to innovate and bring new technology to the pickleball industry. So we started doing research and getting customer feedback. Like we knew that's how we needed to get started to kind of, so that could lay the groundwork of what we need to set out to accomplish. And so we did a lot of that. We did, got a lot of feedback from customers, from brand ambassadors that we have, and from being out talking with the people. And we got, a lot of feedback that, one, obviously we know that power has been a big deal in the pickleball industry, the market. A lot of players have really liked power paddles, right? But we got a lot of feedback about the sweet spot and wanting to really expand that sweet spot so you can get ultimate touch while playing pickleball and really just control your game and control your shots and place them, how you want to. And so we got a lot of feedback about the sweet spot. So we kind of set out to create a paddle with a much greater sweet spot that could really help in the performance of your game, of course. And so Coleman, Connor Coleman is his name. We have like 3 or 4 Connors on our team.
I get them so confused. I don't know everyone's name. There's Cade, there's
names.
Coleman, Connor.
Yeah, so we call him Coleman because there's too many Connors in here. So yeah, Coleman started going to work on research and came up with this technology. This was kind of his concept idea that he researched and created, and we found a way to incorporate that in the pickleball paddle. And after, along that journey, it worked, and we got a lot of positive feedback on it. And so that's kind of how we got to where we're at today. But we'll have Coleman kind of talk about how that product came to be.
Coleman, if you don't mind introducing yourself, like who you are, where you're from, your role, how you got started with Holbrook, and then go into the product, like go into the inception of it, how you even came about doing it, and then the entire process of like the iterations, working with the team, working with Kasen, and just like developing that whole process. I think it's super fascinating.
Yeah, so I'm Connor Coleman. I'm from Utah, basically born in Kentucky, but from about an hour away from Logan, where we're currently at. I'm same age as Kasen. So I went to Utah State University, studied outdoor product design and development. So just kind of learned the ins and outs of taking a product concept or a product from concept all the way up to putting it on the market. So I saw a job listing for Holbrook Pickleball a couple years ago, and I had some run-ins with Kasen like throughout the year previous, I think. Got an interview. They liked my portfolio, the projects I had worked on, and they took a shot on me, hired me, and it's been awesome ever since.
What'd you do before?
They took me right out of college. So this is like working for Holbrook Pickleball was like my first job in product. So yeah, I'm 24 years old, and they picked me up right out of college.
I feel so old.
We've got a young team, but we figure it out.
No, it's great. It's cool.
It's kind of funny too. I feel like bringing Coleman on the team is another like, it was like meant to be in a way, and too, because he said we had a few run-ins. It's actually funny. We were in Lima, Peru at the exact same time when we were going out to serve our missions for our church, and we were in the same training center, but we never interacted while we were there. But afterwards, when we met, we connected the dots. We're like, oh, we were there at the exact same time. So we were down in Lima, Peru together like 5 years ago, or 6 years ago now. Never met, came back, saw him on campus. We talked for a little bit. Then we had another run in like over at an apartment where I was dropping off a paddle to a customer, and then came in and interviewed him. And so we had a bunch of run-ins before, and then he's been on our team, like he said, since he's kind of been in college and graduated college, and it's been a fun journey. So
I don't even know what to say. That's crazy.
I know, it's wild.
Dude, the faith in Logan, Utah, or just Utah in general, man, is just like incredible. Yeah, Coleman. Well, okay, so you majored in outdoor product
design and development. Yeah.
What kind of products were you messing around with in school?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is one of the reasons why I think these guys hired me, because they thought some of the products that I had been working on were kind of cool. But I'm a big water skier. Slalom water skiing is something I love to do. I grew up doing it, and I designed like a little leg sleeve product that protects your skin when you water ski, because the way that you turn, the water can spray off your ski and like kind of cut your skin a little bit almost. So I created a product that helps with that, along with it does a couple other things. I designed another product for water skiing that videos the water skier while they're skiing. It's kind of a hands-off approach to water skiing. Did a little redesign on that. I don't even remember what else I've done. Our homework assignments were basically always designing products. Like, it's just like the amount of different projects I had the chance to work on. I did a cool collaboration with NASA and a company called Checker Spot, and we did kind of like a snow ski product design that was really cool. So I had a lot of chances to do some pretty cool products and work with a lot of amazing talent up there at the university.
That's awesome. Moving on to the ARMA, how you told me a little bit about it before when we were back there, but how did the concept come about? And yeah, just the idea of using two different sized cells and still like the edge foam perimeter, and even adding the weight in there too, and just like the use of, yeah, I think the different like manipulation of materials.
Yeah, absolutely. So to start off, I think Kasen mentioned before that we started out with, we wanted to solve this problem. And a very common problem that I was finding in my research was, the sweet spots are so small in these paddles. And like in my mind, I was like, well, what if we could create a paddle that like dead spots didn't exist, or like the whole entire paddle face was just one big sweet spot? And so I started doing research around different industries. I believe that innovation is pulled from inspiration from different industries. So I love to golf, so I started looking into a lot of golf products. I love baseball, started looking into a lot of baseball stuff for baseball bats, kind of similar industries where there's that ball to some sort of, paddle or bat type, that contact, that interaction. And I happened upon this technology in a golf putter where they basically created they call it sweet face technology, where no matter where you hit it, where you make contact with the putter face, the ball is going to end up almost in the exact same spot. And so I thought, okay, this physics concept makes sense in my head. How can we translate that over to pickleball? So the idea is that the more dense a material is, the more energy that can transfer into something else. Yesterday, I told you about, like if you take, we'll say like a smart car. I think yesterday I said Honda Civic, but we'll take a smart car for this example. If you take a smart car and hit it with another smart car, what's that collision going to be like? There's going to be some damage, right? But the displacement of those vehicles won't be that much. If you take a semi and you hit a smart car, what's going to happen to that smart car? It's going to be very much displaced, right? And so the same physics concept we took and implemented in our paddles. We said, okay, let's take a higher density of polypropylene and put it in the areas where we're losing a lot of energy, dead spots. And then once we put that there, we did some testing and realized that, it actually does transfer more energy to the ball on those off-center shots. So in effect, we're growing that sweet spot, right? On off-center shots, we're transferring more energy into the ball that you would otherwise be losing with any other pickleball paddle. Oh yeah, here's
Yeah, this is the inside core of the ARMA paddle. So like Coleman was explaining, we have this higher density polypropylene core.
What is, for someone that doesn't know anything about this, how would you define higher density?
Yeah, so it's got basically more material. So it's a smaller cell size of polypropylene. So there's more material in this space rather than a larger cell size polypropylene. There's more empty space, right? So the larger dense, more material polypropylene is on the edges and top of the paddle. Like Coleman said, where most miss hits happen when you're playing pickleball. So that really allows you, when you miss it, to get good energy transfer, get a really good hit off the ball. So the ball's not just dying and falling off your paddle, right? So that's what we've done there with our patent pending dual density core. So we have that there. We also have this foam, our perimeter foam that goes around it. It does help, provide power to the paddle. And we have it wrapped in carbon fiber. That just kind of helps the integrity of the core, helps it stay more durable as well, just so it doesn't expand too much and do too much damage to the polypropylene itself. So that's what we've done to the core. You can see the cutout there. We have the two densities, and we've got the foam wrapped in carbon fiber. So
you guys mentioned you added weight on the inside too, right? How did you guys do that? Like, what material did you use?
Yeah, sure. So we just added lead tape on the interior of the paddle in pretty much these bottom corners. It's a little bit higher up than the actual corner itself, but probably I don't know how you describe that, like the lower third of the paddle.
Yeah, kind of like right before it starts to curve down here, there's weights right there on each side.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, to kind of bring the whole paddle together as far as performance-wise, we know that adding the foam perimeter increases power, right? You see that in a lot of Gen 3 paddles. So that's why we added that element of foam around the perimeter. But to maintain power on all areas of the paddle, that's where we instituted the idea of the dual density, right? You're generating power with the foam, and then on off-centered hits, you're maintaining that power with the higher density material.
So yeah, going back to those weights too. So we decided to put them there. It is lead tape, just placed right there on the interior of the paddle, because we did recognize, by doing a higher density core up top, you're adding a little bit more weight. So it would cause it to be slightly more head heavy, right? So we put the weights down there to kind of balance it out, give the paddle a more balanced feel, just so that when you're getting the paddle stock, it's got the optimal, performance that we could offer. And then from there, of course, players can, put lead tape on where they desire, but we felt like that gave it the best feel and balance out of the box.
Yeah, that's sweet. I don't always like to judge a paddle too much by its first impressions, but I mean, this does what you guys say.
Yeah.
Like very much. Like I did a private lesson with one of their sponsored pros, Allison Harris, yesterday. And when I'm drilling with a pro, I'm trying to make like everything perfect. There's definitely a sense of nervousness and everything. So I'm trying to make everything consistent. And even then, like I felt like everything was very consistent, very much like what I expected. I will say there's definitely power in these. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of power in these, which was like, it very much felt effortless. Like even on resets, didn't have to put too much in it, letting the ball come to me each time, and then pretty consistent. Even Allison, she gave me like some tips on things to adjust, but like even doing during the drives and everything, I was like, yeah, this felt great. And where I added the weight, so I'm assuming this probably came in at like maybe 7.8 or like 7.7, because I added this weight and it's set at 8.1. No overgrip, felt great. feels balanced, which is nice. Yeah, I've used power paddles where like it took me a second to break in and like adjust to it, and I didn't really have that issue with this, which is nice.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, yeah, we're glad you got to put some time on it and get a feel of the paddle. And we've honestly just gotten a lot of really good feedback on it, and we've appreciated you and everyone who's been in the process of testing it out and giving it a shot and giving us feedback. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't have like a plush feel, in my opinion. It feels more rigid. It feels very much like firm. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we love it. We're super excited to launch it. It'll be awesome.
What has been like, I think one concern, and it's not my concern, it didn't originate from me, but actually Isaac Olson had, I hope he doesn't mind that I call him out on this, throw him under the bus. But I mean, yeah, it makes sense where he brought it up. He's like, okay, if the line of where you're at, of where the cell sizes change, it has like a cut, right? So like, I am curious about the durability. Like, how was the testing, and how do you ensure it's not like an area of like where there might be like compromise? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a valid point, valid concern. Yeah, we've done a lot of testing. We've done a lot of groundwork to get it to a point where we feel like it was ready to go to market. So yeah, we did a lot of testing to test the polypropylene, where the cut is, and the durability overall of the paddle. So for example, some of that testing that we did was we would do x-rays of the paddle core before we used it. Then we would put it through durability testing and hit the ball on the paddle at like 60 miles an hour, 2,000 times, on each side. So we would put it through the ringer and then x-ray it again and check out the core. And we got really consistent results. The core held up really well, and it wasn't compromised in that testing. And then we did the same thing with PB core testing. We would do a PB core test on the paddles before use, put it through durability and play testing, and PB core after, and the results were very similar as well. So it felt like, based on those results and a lot of core, examination, the paddle holds up really well. And even going into the construction of the paddle with the foam and that carbon fiber wrap, it does expand when you put it in the mold, and it does kind of just hold the core together in place really well. So that does help with the consistency of the core and just really stabilizes that. That's one piece that does help with the core and its durability. So
yeah, and on top of that, I mean, we've had one of our top sponsored athletes, Martin Emrich, put like over 80 hours on a paddle, and we x-rayed it after, and it showed no signs of compromise in the core. And he's normally running through like one paddle every 2 weeks, and he's putting upwards of 80 hours on this paddle, which is far surpasses 2 weeks worth of play for him. So that like was the play aspect of all of these durability tests, like kind of brought it to light how durable it truly is. So for us, we feel very confident with all of the different the testing procedures that we've done as far as PB core with durability and x-raying the paddles and stuff like that to make sure that what we bring to market is a good quality product. We've been working on this for over 1.5 years now. We've put it through a lot of different tests. So we do feel very confident that this product that we're releasing is a solid product and that people are going to really love it.
Yeah. To add on to that, I mean, we know it's not perfect, and it is a, similar Gen 3 construction with polypropylene and foam. And we know that paddles that are constructed with those materials, they don't last forever. It's not always perfect, but we've done, like we've said, we've done a lot of testing, got a lot of good feedback. Even, the UPAA has started doing durability testing on it, and they gave us great feedback on it as well, telling us that based on their durability tests, it didn't break in near as much as a lot of other paddles that they've tested as well. So all those different tests that we've done has kind of led us to this point where we feel like it holds up well, and we're excited to bring it out to the market.
And with that being said, I mean, we're not okay with even how durable it is, right? We're still pushing to make it even more durable. And what we have coming down the line, we're looking at some pretty exciting things that we're really pumped about to bring to the market. And we know that, like, as we continue to push and push and push, our products will just continue to get more and more durable, better performance. We're just pushing on all fronts, and we're not okay with even like where we're at now. It's not enough. We want more.
Is that those 2 paddles that were in that box yesterday?
That's one of the concepts we're working on. It's pretty unique. Yeah.
That's sweet. Well, man, I don't think Kwang Dong, did he say anything like negative about the paddle after using it at Peachtree?
No, not that I heard of. I wasn't there. Tyler Baldwin, our partnerships manager, was there, and from what I've heard, he actually played on it, for quite a few matches without having to switch paddles, and I haven't heard any negative feedback from it yet. So
that's kind of who you'd want to be hitting with it.
Yeah,
if you're gonna test power.
That's true.
That's sweet. And then you guys mentioned like certification briefly. You guys mentioned that UPA was doing some durability testing. What is the certification on the release of June 10th?
Yeah, so for our certification, we have everything USA Pickleball approved. Everything we're launching will be approved by USA Pickleball. We do have the ARMA T blackout paddles that we did UPAA approved for our professional players that are playing on tour. So we do have those models approved by UPAA for our players, our sponsored players, but those aren't going to be available on our website at this point to sell. We'll just sell everything that we have USAP approved.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. Is there any particular reason for that? Am I missing? I don't know.
Yeah, why it's not like dual certified or anything that way. So yeah, we didn't pay for the licensing fee to have our graphics at least on our paddles on the Pro Tour, right? So by getting them UPA certified, we can only UPA certify our blackout paddles to play on PPA Tour. So at this point, we don't offer our blackout paddle ones on our website. But if there's demand there, like if a lot of people are like, we want to play with these ones at PPA events type of thing, then we're super open to, doing that as well. They do pass UPA certification, but we haven't done it for all of our models because of licensing fee. So
I would not be surprised if people reached out to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it makes sense, if customers want it, yeah, we're happy to do it.
Yeah, and I forgot these are 14 millimeter too.
Mm-hmm.
This is cool. This is like I feel like the True Foam was kind of one of the first to be like, hey, 16, 14, it's not so much the width anymore. It's rather like the materials that are used. So this is cool to see another like 14 because I was always a 16 guy.
Yeah.
And now I'm like 14. I'm like, well, if it's made with the like certain materials, the width isn't as like a much of a differentiating factor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of how we designed it. We realized we wanted this to be a power paddle as well, with that awesome sweet spot like we talked about, and so we said let's do it in a 14, and we'll figure out how to make it perform ideally how we want it to perform in a 14 millimeter thickness. And so we just decided to go with that and make it perform optimally in that thickness.
Yeah, it kind of takes the best of both worlds, right? The best of a 16 millimeter, with the touch and the feel at the kitchen, and then also the power and the pop of a 14 millimeter. We designed that paddle to perform exactly how it performs and didn't feel like we needed to add different thicknesses because that's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It felt like pretty consistent. I'll be the first one to tell you, I do not hit the ball in the center every time.
Yeah.
So
I don't either.
yeah, like hitting yesterday. Yeah, like hitting yesterday with Allison, we went through the whole gamut. We went through like baseline, transition zone, dinking, volleys, and everything felt like, I think pretty consistent, even irregardless of the fact that there are different cell sizes. It still felt consistent, which is like good. Obviously, if I like hit the ball here, there's no paddle is gonna be able to like help me there.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that, like, I won't mention the paddle, but there are some paddles where like you could hit it here and the ball would just die. And even hitting the sweet spot or hitting a little bit away from it still felt very consistent, which I was like, this is great. Yeah, I think as far as like addressing that problem that you guys mentioned, which is always a great place to start from in product development, like I feel like you guys hit that, which is great.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it.
Damn, that's such a crazy solution idea. Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, like Coleman said, we got more stuff coming, kind of going off this concept. We've got a lot of things in the works that will be really cool. We're excited to to launch to market. We're super excited for ARMA to launch on June 10th, and we're still going to work on the next thing. So
Yeah.
it's fun to be part of paddle development.
I think one thing that I want to say is just like, it's been cool. This concept, I've really been diving into it over the last year and a half, and it's been cool in other industries to see kind of this physics concept being brought to light as well. I know yesterday I mentioned Major League Baseball, the introduction of this new torpedo bat this year. It's playing off the same physics concept, right? You're taking density, transferring it closer to the dead spots or the places where people are mishitting the ball, so it can transfer more energy back into the ball. So, you know, golf industry, baseball industry now, you're seeing it for the first time in the pickleball industry. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be interesting when like those other sports look at pickleball and like, hey, they did this. Let's use it for bats and golf. That'll be interesting if that
Yeah.
like switches
Yeah,
places.
yeah, that would be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Cool. We can get Breygan back.
sweet.
in. Thanks for your time, Coleman.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me join, guys.
Nice job.
Thank you.
You crushed it.
Thank you.
Here's what I'll also say just quickly about Coleman, because he's not going to hype himself up, of course. I think from very early on, we were really impressed with just what Coleman could do. He's so good with materials. He's so good at just understanding what other industries are doing, and like what we're seeing in ARMA, bringing that to life in pickleball. So yeah, he's a great asset to our team, and although he didn't have a lot of experience, let's say in the the workforce, he actually had a lot of experience because of just how dynamic he has been as an individual and just learning things from different projects and different ideas that he just kind of dove into, and so it's pretty cool to have him on the team.
Yeah. I want to show one more thing about the ARMA. Do you want to hand me one or one of the finished ones? So if you look at the design of the ARMA, you can see that those red dots going up in that upper.
Here, I'll point it out.
Yeah.
Kind of this.
Yeah, up in that arc shape towards the top and edges of the paddle. That is, like we showed you in the core, the shape of the cutout of the dual density core. So it's nice when you're on the courts, when you're showing other people your paddle, you can point that out, the higher density core being at the top and edges of the paddle. It manifests itself in the graphics. So we thought that was a pretty cool touch that we did to the ARMA.
For that
yeah,
one.
Cade and Coleman all working on the graphics, did a great job.
That sounds ridiculous. It might sound ridiculous, but that actually makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It really does.
Like that's where the dual density is. Right?
Yeah.
That higher density.
But it makes so much sense in the way that you're like, well, what if there's people on the court and they're trying to explain this technology?
Yeah.
Trying to tell someone
It's hard.
there's high density core here or high density material here, there's low density here.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like, what
people
does that
know-
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you're
right.
imagining like it's just a regular rec player.
Oh,
So you want to be like, hey, this is where this is where the dead spots generally are. This is where people miss it. And they change the material here. So like to
Yeah.
be able to make that like shareable makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Like that's actually, it seems like such a simple thing that would probably go unnoticed, but
Sure.
I think being able to like make the technology and the product more simply explainable to other people other than the people at the company makes like
Totally.
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Simplicity.
thanks.
There's power in simplicity.
Design,
So-
man.
And design.
Yeah.
There you
Design.
go.
It matters.
Damn,
Design can matter.
that's sweet.
Absolutely.
Something I wanted to talk about going to the business side is how like when we were at dinner, you guys were talking about how you're in like 700 stores now, or probably even over that. But you're also making a push international. Like, I think that's super fascinating because the store names that you mentioned are like household names. So like, how does that process even go about of like trying to get into retail stores? What is it like picking up the phone and reaching out to them? Because obviously you have like sales teams
Absolutely.
and you have people who are dedicated for that role and don't need to go into like specific numbers, but what is it
Sure.
like negotiating with
Absolutely.
You're a smaller brand. These are larger brands. Like,
Totally.
who has leverage? How do you balance that leverage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. I'm passionate about a lot of this, mainly
So
because
he's like the CPO, and this is more like your kind of
so
domain.
I'm technically I'm CEO, but I'm a very very involved, kind of in all elements of the business, but from sales, marketing, product development. But then of course we have amazing people that are kind of carrying out a lot of the tasks and making decisions and doing kind of running those different elements, departments. I'm passionate about this because first of all, who doesn't love an underdog story? And we love sports. And so, even speaking of like March Madness in basketball, like it's the best time of year because there's always those upsets and it's fun to see people succeed. So, going back to kind of the business side of it, I'd say, very early on, and because of our mentorship, very early on, we saw the need for getting on people's shelves, on retail shelves. And the reason is because pickleball is a very, you experience the product. And so there's so many players that will go, whether it's kind of like a mass store, like an Academy or Shields or Dick's Sporting Goods, or a specialty store where they, kind of trust that they'll kind of have those higher level products. So people love and players, they want to go and feel the texture. They want to swing it around. And of course, and a lot of our retailers, you can actually go demo the product, which is huge, right? You play with it and you kind of get a feel, is this the right paddle for me? Is this going to help my game? So we saw the need for that very early on. We talk a lot about building a championship team internally. And what that means to us, to explain a little bit more, and I'll tie it back in, but to explain a little bit more is we are so focused on just being the best in every area that we can, in every area of the business. So going back to sales is we are so focused on having the best sales team. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to be the best over the phone at trying to articulate our words or make a perfect pitch. But for us is we want to provide massive value to whatever partner we're dealing with. What's going to provide the most success for them so that they come away like, this is going to help my store and my customers that are coming into my store. This is going to fill the need that they have. And can we provide that for it? If we can't provide it for them, then either number one, and we see the need for it, we'll absolutely go make sure it happens and get it done. Or it's just not the right fit. And so much for us is, let's provide value and do that from the customer to all of our partners. And so that's what true sales is there's a lot of retailers out there that may struggle with XYZ or don't have XYZ products that's going to help their customer. And that's where we can come in and help them. We only succeed to the level of our partners' success. So let's help them succeed. And so that's so much of what you could say sales is when we're talking to a lot of the retailers that we work with. So I think that's a big thing. A lot of that is done through in person and then over the phone and email. And so we want to be a brand that you can reach out to, and we're going to find answers. And we want to go and meet people in person because number one, we learn from a lot of retailers, but then you build more of a relationship. A lot of those things, those little things done consistently, is going to bring a lot of success. And so I think that's an element of that for the sales side.
To tag along with that as well. Kind of going back to our team. So Breygan being the CEO and kind of overseeing a lot of areas of the business. And we also have Connor Hyde, our brother-in-law, who we mentioned before. So he's our sales manager and he's kind of managing the other sales reps, but he's also managing our bigger accounts like Academy Sports and Shields and those bigger accounts. So he does a great job working with them. And like Breygan said, we just try to create a really healthy partnership with all of our, wholesale accounts, our retail stores that we're in. So
I think so much of it too is putting people in the right seats where they can thrive as far as business goes. Connor is very, very good with people, and he loves just interacting and finding solutions and building relationships with the accounts that he's working with. And so he's very much he's just a great person to do that. And so truthfully, I mean, when he came in, we were in about 150 stores. Now we're in 700. He was a big part in that, just because of, number one, of course, his work ethic. He kind of caught the vision of the brand, and then of course he's just great with people and finds solutions, and it really encapsulates everything that we're trying to become in a lot of ways. So that's definitely an element of the business as our retail partners, for sure.
Yeah, we feel like having a presence in retail stores, as well as selling our products online and direct to consumer, we feel like it really rounds ourselves out as a business and as a brand. We really like having both touch points for consumers and customers and players to experience our brand on different fronts.
It's an ecosystem. It's you, for us. We're not just like solely focused on one channel. But definitely, different channels that are best for the customers, depending on the type of customer. So
Yeah, that makes sense. There's no like right way to pursue how
Sure.
to like get your product out there.
yeah,
Especially now, there's so many different ways. It could be through social media, it could be through UGC content, through retailers, through word of mouth, through
Yeah.
the local like grassroots community scene. So it's cool. And you guys said you're making a push international too.
yeah, definitely. We just see the growth of the sport, and obviously in the U.S. it started going crazy a few years ago. Well, that's happening outside of the U.S. now. And so just from the partners that the people that kind of we've been introduced to and the partners that we've developed, it's kind of come together where we've been able to find the right partners in different areas of the world. And so we're definitely starting to push on that. Another area that we can bring hopefully value to the pickleball players that are in other parts of the world. We want them to experience the excitement of getting a paddle in their hand that's going to help them improve. It really all starts with the customer, and so and I'd love to even talk about some of those grassroots efforts and stuff that we've been doing there, but definitely that doesn't just mean here in the U.S., especially because it's exciting for all of us to see the growth of pickleball all over the world. It's going to be in the Olympics. There's a lot of things that we just see as exciting, and we want to be a part of the ride.
Yeah, we've got great partners that we work with, like Breygan said, that really help push our brand and be an extension of our brand in different countries of the world. And it's a super satisfying and rewarding thing for us to see, like when we get pictures from our partners of a local like demo day, a Holbrook demo day, or a tournament where players are playing with our paddle and succeeding. And it's super cool to see our product and our brand in other parts of the world other than where we started here.
Is there one particular country that you're seeing more activity in?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say Southeast Asia is a big. There's a lot of growth there, and so but I think that just that area for sure. So we have some distributors and partners that we work with, and they have been awesome. But we've seen a lot of growth just in that area, and so yeah.
What's the going back? You mentioned it very briefly. Was going back to like the grassroots effort that you mentioned.
Yes.
What's that been like, and like what's the intention there?
Oh, absolutely. Going kind of back to, I don't know if you'd say like partners, but just the relationships that we have built. It's all done through just kind of getting out in the wild. I would say a lot of our success, especially at the beginning and even to now, like no matter how big we get, we're always going to get out in the wild, or in other words, get out to the pickleball communities, because that's where we learn. That's where they can shed light on product development. That's where they can shed light on just different angles that we haven't tapped into. And of course, like keeping our boots on the ground, our ear on the ground on, just what does the pickleball player want? Of course, we play pickleball. We travel a lot. Obviously, a lot of people probably seen Tyler Baldwin travel. I travel a lot. But it's just so that we can learn and be involved and in the know. Not only that, when you meet people and you develop relationships, like that's also very fulfilling. And so we have a lot of just great relationships. When we were just going to tournaments and letting people demo our paddles, we met some really awesome people that eventually have become very influential and just in our growth, and they've become dear friends of ours. And so I'd say we really value those that are just in their community playing and gathering people to play and coaching, and those are the people that can really help us. Not only that, is we just value them. We love learning from them. And so I'd say no matter how big we get, we always want to be out in the wild. We want to be in that pickleball community. We want to learn from them, play with them. That just helps the business as a whole. And kind of on that grassroots level is where it really starts. Once again, we always want to provide value. How could we provide value if we don't know what the pickleball player wants, or if we don't know where pickleball is heading and shifting? And so I think just for us is, number one, relationships are awesome and they're fulfilling, and it drives a lot that we do. And then just number two, it's just it makes it a lot more fulfilling and fun.
Yeah, I'd say we definitely wouldn't be where we're at today. We wouldn't be the business that we are now if it wasn't for getting out there and connecting with the people and getting in contact with amazing people, like Breygan said, that have now been, key brand ambassadors, or whether it's ambassadors or coaches or sponsored athletes. Like, we've met such awesome and influential people that have helped our brand. And they've just been, we wouldn't be where we are today without them. From the beginning, for these past, over 3 years, they've been they've had a huge impact on our brand throughout the world and throughout the nation.
What challenges have you guys faced in the past year, in terms of maybe it's business, maybe it's product, maybe it's internal? What do you think has been some major obstacles?
Yeah. I think just with growth, there's natural challenges. Obviously ARMA, that was a big, you could maybe say, challenge / opportunity of just fitting it all together. We've been working on it for over a year and a half. That was a big focus of ours. And so there was natural challenges that came with that to bring about the vision and technology and performance that we wanted that paddle to bring. I would just say that's probably a big one. Other than that, I think I don't know if I see any major challenges outside of just the natural growth, whether that's getting our working with employees and make sure we're all on the same page and really nailing down that culture and that vision. Of course, product development is a big one, and getting everyone to experience that side of things. But I don't really know if there's anything that's screaming or right in my face.
Yeah, there's always hiccups with a growing brand, and
it's never perfect.
And we just try to figure it out every step of the way. Like Breygan said, whether it's trying to launch a new paddle, and there's ups and downs in that process, and getting it to work, and or if there's hiccups in manufacturing something that we have to work through, or internally with our team trying to figure things out. There's always things that come up, and we just try to tackle them and the best we can. So
I think there's a lot of benefits in moving fast, and so we're definitely not perfect, but trying to make decisions, get everybody on the same page, and then just act. And usually through action, and trying to find problems to solutions quickly, and
solutions to problems.
Sorry, thank you. Solutions to problems quickly.
It's a new approach.
Yeah, there you go. Don't try that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Solutions to problems quickly. If you stay in that headspace of just all the problems, you're never going to progress and move forward. So it's just try to find those solutions as fast as possible.
Yeah, one more thing to add on that.
I'd say.
Yeah. One more thing to add on that is, being dedicated to growing a brand. And like Breygan said, it takes a lot of time and effort. And even personally, like, there's challenges with balancing work and family life and things like that. So we're just super grateful. Like you said, it's been a family oriented kind of visit for you. And we value that a lot. Like just having a really supportive family and wives that help us every step of the way.
I have 5 kids. Dude, that is crazy. We're
Not
at
there
dinner.
yet.
Yeah, I don't have any kids yet.
Yeah.
Nope.
You're about to. What'd she say? She said 5, didn't she?
She wants around 5 probably at least, but
Every
we'll
wife
see.
at the table said 5. Cade has
5
5.
already.
He has 5?
Yeah.
He has 5. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Brody had 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're a family of 5 kids. So we do value, I mean, that you could say that's definitely, a challenge, I guess, is but our wives are just so supportive. It's just, we're just all in on this. We just see this excites us. This fulfills us. And so, we spend a lot of time here. We spend a lot of time traveling. Like I was telling you, like in a 4-week span, I was in 7 countries, and just like we're trying to move as fast as possible. And so, I think trying to balance all of that and then, there's always just hiring more people and then that can help fulfill a lot of those things. And then our wives are really just, they are the real like heroes in a lot of ways. I mean, what Sarah, speaking of my wife, how they're actually going to come in. So I'm going to get Holland on the podcast. That would be cool. But Holland, my 14-month-old daughter, doing that when I'm gone and she's pregnant doing end of July. So there's just a lot of sacrifice that's more than just what we're sharing. And that also involves our team. Like truthfully, like our team, we have such a good team. We talked about this earlier. We are a younger team, but so many of our employees and our people here, like we really do have that championship mindset where it's just like, let's go out and get it done. Let's do things the right way. Let's have fun in the journey. Let's push ourselves. Let's hold each other accountable and go accomplish our goals. And we kind of all have that mindset, and that does require sacrifice. But we've been very proud of our team and how they have handled that in a lot of ways. We're just the spokesman, but there's so much that's going on that you could maybe say is unseen in a lot of ways that make a massive impact that we care about a lot, and that's because of them.
One more thing I want to add on this with challenges. I know we've been talking about this a little bit, but like just going through this journey of starting a business, like we mentioned, like we're still in the beginning. We still have so much room to grow and things that we want to accomplish. But even through all the ups and downs of these first 3 years, like us two together and individually, we just try to involve God. And we feel like as we've done that, like challenges turn into blessings, and we feel like we get answers to prayers and helping us just with direction or get through things that we need to get through. And we feel like a lot of our successes and overcoming challenges is all credited to that.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, he helps a ton.
Yeah, I'm not like a religious person. I grew up religious. I think we were like Presbyterian Christian, but like even being here, I have a pretty naive perspective or like knowledge of Mormon culture and Mormon religion. I only knew like one guy. It's not super, I feel like it's not very common on the East Coast. Maybe I'm wrong, but we're also in Utah, so like it's very
right.
common.
Yeah.
But it's cool, man. Like talking to you guys and asking about like your faith, which is obviously a really, really big part of it. Like it starts from your family.
Yeah.
Like your dad, even talking to him about religion too, and how it, like some of his answers to how he's handled obstacles or challenges, or even counting his blessings, he's always like kind of credited towards like the way he talked about it's just like crediting it towards God, crediting it towards the person that he like believes in, and he always like just kind of has faith in them like no matter what happens or what the unpredictability of life,
Yeah.
he's like, I just know that God has like a plan, whatever that plan is, then I'll stick to it. And I was like,
Sure.
yeah, like I think that's such a like great thing to talk about that I haven't had the pleasure of being able to talk about in other episodes before. So
Yeah.
I think it's really cool and just like driving around, seeing like the temples and seeing how like common and like prominent the faith is here. Like having 5 kids, I imagine that a lot of that has to come from the culture. But like,
We do
yeah,
love family.
yeah, like my prior knowledge, my buddy was like, man, when you have a kid, the whole community comes together and they bring you like food, they bring you
Yeah.
like baby gifts to help you like acclimate you into the thing so that you don't feel alone. And like it is I hate using this word all the time, but like community again. Like there's pickleball, there's community in pickleball, but there's also like community in faith and religion.
Yeah.
Which is like it's been super real. It's been really cool. And I like really appreciate that. And like your dad was like the end of our conversation, he was saying that there's like 3 pillars if you're gonna like pursue like business. He was like, do it for the right reason, the right motive, and do right by people, like treat people right.
Yeah.
He's like, if I just stick to those 3 things, like things will work out. Was kind of like what he said.
Yeah.
Like, he could be right, he could be wrong, but I like appreciate that he has like he uses a pillar to steer him in anything that any endeavor he goes into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see why he's one of our heroes.
Which is super cool, man. Like my dad was also kind of like that. My dad was an entrepreneur as well. We didn't have like as tight of a relationship. It like kind of changed as we got older, but like hearing you guys talk about like, man, our dad was like an inspiration for entrepreneurship. I actually turned my back on entrepreneurship like from growing up. I just didn't think it was like the thing for me. I was like, I want to go do my own thing.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold,
Yeah.
the very thing I was like afraid of or denying was like the thing that I ultimately actually wanted towards the end
Yeah.
of like, all that stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I think we do feel very fortunate in a lot of ways. You know, we feel like this is an awesome vehicle to just learn and to build great relationships and enjoy the journey. So yeah, I think there's that. I will just say too, I think an overarching goal that we have is just how can we be someone that we feel that God trusts to do his work, to really help other people. We care a lot about that, and because there's so much to life that's much greater than just yourself. And pickleball is honestly a great example of that in a lot of ways, where it's that type of community that you mentioned that has brought a lot of people together. But yeah, I would just say that's kind of like at least a goal of myself. I know Kasen as well, that we can be a servant of him and bring others to him and help them see the light that he can bring into someone and to an area and to an individual. It's pretty awesome. We very much appreciate that.
Yeah, going back a little bit to kind of, what you're saying about your journey too. And I just wanted to say, we've super appreciated you coming out here and being involved in what we've got going on. And it's been cool to, chat and hear about how you got to where you're at and seeing your channel grow and things that way. It's been cool to experience and see how you're doing in your journey. It's cool to connect, and we're super appreciative of that.
I think the whole state of Utah appreciates that they're seeing an Asian person for the first time in a while. Dude, yesterday we were walking to the car from the restaurant, and I'm like, Tyler, that's the first other Asian I've seen in the first like 12 hours I've been here.
That's so funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. No, I've seen more.
You're
I've seen more
iconic
now.
here. You're iconic. There you go.
No, man, it's super cool. And I don't think I've had founder guests. Daryl was 25. He's the founder of Vatic Pro. When I talked to him, he was 25. So like getting the perspective from you guys, I think is also like super interesting. Like the guys from Selkirk are in their mid 30s. So I'm looking forward to taking this, and then maybe in a few years we'll be able to like circle back around and just see
Absolutely.
like how much has changed, how you guys have personally changed. Because I can imagine running a business when I was like 23 or 24. I was a knucklehead. Knucklehead is probably a nice way to put it. Yeah. Um, yeah.
Well, yeah.
That would be awesome. We've got to reconnect. That would
Yeah,
be sweet.
absolutely. I'm 27 now. For whatever that.
Yeah, he's old. What do you mean? He's not young. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, but definitely you. It's a great opportunity to learn, mature, and of course, like I said, we surround ourselves with great people that have done it and that have been successful, and so you just learn a lot from them. Take all the good and just go and attack and get it done.
Yeah, commend you guys for going into entrepreneurship because, like when you're at a young age, there's a lot of roads you can take, but entrepreneurship is surely not the easiest one. Like you have to turn away from all those things that like, I think young people nowadays, like social media it's so much different. Like back when I was your age, social media wasn't that big, but it's so easy to be like, I'm going to go this predictable path and I'm going to let like social media consume my life and things like that.
Totally.
But you guys have chosen like a much difficult, unpredictable, unstable path. Like there's no guaranteed income. You can't have days where you don't look at your phone. Tyler's text messages make me sick. The banner, the badge icon says 950 unread text messages. His phone calls were at 247. Allison and I are like, please do something about that. And Allison's like, there's two kinds of people in this world. There's people who read it and let it build up. And I don't even know what his emails look like. But yeah, like you just can't like disregard that. Obviously, he checks all that stuff, but
Right. Yeah.
like
We'll make sure he checks.
yeah,
it.
when you're in entrepreneurship, that is just
Yeah.
there's just like an onslaught of that. You don't have a 9 to 5. You don't have like
Sure.
there's no stability to a degree. You can try and create it, but yeah, it's tough.
That's very true. We also feel very grateful, though. We could talk about the grind and the sacrifice, and that's all true. That's all very real. But at the same time, like how awesome it is that we have such a great community of Holbrook players, a great industry of pickleball players. Like what a fun community and industry to be part of. And then our team's great, and there's just so much fulfillment in a lot of that.
Dude, you're so positive, it makes me sick.
Well,
yeah, no. Look,
no,
your parents raised and like you guys just raised yourselves to be
Sure.
like I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Entrepreneurship. Alex Hormozy talks about. He's like entrepreneurship belongs to, or like the world belongs to optimists. You have to be able to go through
Sure.
anything and have like an optimistic view when things are not an optimistic situation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I will say I feel like I'm continually training my mind that way in a lot of ways, because it's, there's times where I'm losing sleep over something, and that's very real. Or waking up early to try and find a solution, or having a hard conversation, or collaborating with my team. I mean, there's a lot of those things. But at the same time, once again, it's just training your mind, and not only just training, but if you honestly just take a step back, like what has come about in the last 3 years, so cool. And we genuinely feel like it's just the beginning for personal development, for team development, for the brand as a whole, for the community that we're building, the ambassadors and athletes that we have that we're just like so proud of, that just make us so excited to come into work every day. Like all that, it really is cool. When you take a step back, we feel very grateful in a lot of those angles. So, but I would just say something that, and I just am passionate about this. I think I may have mentioned this a few times, but I think just what we are all about is like our first core value is we win as a team every day. And that means internally, that means also just everyone, the pickleball community, and what we're trying to build is coming together as a team and winning every day. And I think for us, we're not so focused on being the biggest brand out there. I think that comes naturally by being the best at all those things that are most important, of all those little things of business, and doing that consistently. a lot of success comes through that consistency. So, for us, like, we value our customer service team. Like, we answer within 24 hours. We talked about that a little bit. We ship everything within 24 hours. We involve the customer so much in our product development. We spend a lot of time and money traveling so we can get on kind of that level and in the community of pickleball players. We're doing a lot of those things because we want to be the best at them. Kind of going back, and I said that with our sales team, providing value to the end customer, but also to all the partners that we have. Like, we are so dedicated into just becoming the best and doing all those things, those little things consistently, that bigger will take care of itself. And hopefully, the results of that will come. But truth always shines through, and that's by doing those consistent things and dedicating yourselves and our team and what Holbrook is about. It's just becoming a championship team and being the best in our areas that we possibly can be. And things will play out, I think that's just like what we are very passionate about. Outside of everything that we've talked about in the podcast today is just being the best and finding ways to improve and perfect your craft and being the best in your area. And the truth will shine through. Things will evolve. But that's a big focus for us. And what we want, everyone to be aware of, that we really care about the customer. We care about what we're doing, because that's where I think we'll just see a lot of that success is through the people on the ground and perfecting our craft in a lot of ways, being the best at it, building that championship team.
If you couldn't tell,
inside and out.
Played basketball growing up. Did you play D1?
I wish. No, I think I jumped into business too fast. No, I didn't, but I played a lot of basketball.
Yeah,
basketball,
we both did basketball and football growing up.
Yeah, we admire.
Championship and team mentality. And
totally.
Constant improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with better people.
Exactly.
Have mentors who essentially are coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see that in so many ways. Like, we talk about sports a lot. Mark Cuban talks a lot about how business is the hardest sport. A
lot of overlap for sure.
Yeah, so I think there's just a lot of overlap, and a lot of great athletes out there to look up to.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't have anything else.
Cool.
I mean, you guys covered it. You guys
Well,
covered
thank
the
you.
product, a little bit about yourselves, and I know
Yeah.
like the faith and religion is big, so I was actually really excited to talk about
Yeah.
that. And kind of
Well, we feel honored that you'd come out, seriously.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
And take the time to, spend time away from home, getting on a plane. Like, we get that. Like, so we appreciate you just believing in us.
I don't feel guilty.
Hey, still though.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun having you out here.
Dude,
It's been good.
Thank you for inviting me in May and June and
Yeah.
not like November. The video would be a lot more depressing.
Yeah.
I have seasonal depression, so it would not have been.
Yeah. This is a good time of year, but
Yeah.
we appreciate all that you do for the pickleball community. We appreciate what you've done for our brand, and we appreciate and admire your entrepreneurship, and we'll be seeing each other soon for sure.
We'll be in
it's just
touch.
the beginning for both of us, and we really believe that. So
Likewise.
grateful for everything.
Keep the focus on the customer like you guys already are. You guys have mentioned it a bunch of times. Like, if you guys keep the focus on customer and you always prioritize them, I don't think there's anywhere you could go wrong. You could see it in large legacy brands like Walmart. Walmart is always trying to do right by the customer.
Sure.
This is so small and stupid, but Costco has not changed the prices on their hot dogs, $1.50 hot dogs.
True.
They try to prioritize what the customer would want.
Values.
Even as times change, even if they have to take a cut of pay or profit, they still try to prioritize them. And I think that's great that you guys always go with that mindset and prioritize them, and also solving problems.
Yeah.
But that's great. And thank you for bringing your family around, a complete stranger covered in tattoos.
No,
They're
dude.
cool tattoos.
Yeah.
They
That's
look cool.
sweet.
No, thanks for bringing your family around and introducing me to all your family members, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys do, and I'm excited to see how this paddle does. I don't see where this could, not to blow you guys, blow smoke up y'all's butts, but like I don't want to curse. We're in Utah. I don't want to curse. I try not to, but yeah, like it just felt really good, and you're like, okay, this is along the lines of what is popular out there without copying what those things the existing items already are.
Yeah.
So like to use a different angle, but still consistent with what's going on and what people want.
Sure. No, we appreciate that. I mean, Holbrook is our last name. So every paddle that is out in the wild that people use, I mean, that literally is our last name. So we kind of take that pride, whatever we launch and we release, we got to be proud of that personally, because it literally has our name on it. And that's our reputation in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, we want to always provide that value. And so it's cool to hear that you at least say that about the ARMA. We really do appreciate that. But
yeah, we're excited for launch.
Name, so
yeah,
it's like a cannon.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Allison, I was like, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That first, I loved that moment. I wish I had it on film, but like that first drive, you like look over like, yo, I'm like, dang, that was like priceless. So that was pretty fun, pretty cool.
Cool.
Shout out to Allison too. I don't think we did that here, and I wish we had her here. She's going and doing some more content for us. But shout out to Allison as well for coming and doing that. You'll obviously see all the content, right? They'll see the content, but she's been awesome. And she's a great player. She's dang good.
Yeah, top APP player. She's fantastic.
So down to earth.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, super down to earth.
Super, great character. Just great person to surround yourself with. So she's awesome, and super glad that she came out and made that trip.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys will see the video of you guys training together. So
you'll
get to watch that.
A great tip is almost always like the most obvious one.
Yeah.
In a way, you're like, why would I? Yeah, you're like, why wouldn't I think of that?
Yeah.
It's such a simple thing. It's
what's crazy, like even like the smallest little like tip, but it like made a massive difference. Like all of a sudden she's like, hey, do this, and then all of a sudden you were like, that shot was way more consistent or way more on target, or it was like, wow, that small little thing made a big difference though. It was pretty cool. So it was fun.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Sweet.
Appreciate it.
We made it through.
Nice.
Sometimes